Even Democrats, some Democrats out there, now starting to take notice of this hypocrisy and the dangers the socialist supremacists pose.
But let's be clear. The John Brennans, Adam Schiffs, and the oligarchs in big tech who are trying to undermine our constitutionally protected rights and turn our country into a police state with KGB-style surveillance are also domestic enemies.
We are a week into the Biden administration, and I'm already tired of the banality of socialist Democrats who appear to have everybody in this country on the run. As many of you know, the Democrats' ideology of government oppression, no freedom of expression or religion, is as old as time. Only the American ideal of freedom, liberty, prosperity, and the rule of law is new and a fresh approach in man's relation to man. In my opinion, it's time to stand against left-wingers and their double standards. It's time to say with a unified voice, no to the Democrats' cancerous cancel culture. We can all start doing that with some good old-fashioned truth-telling. It's time Americans reject socialist supremacy from the communist cult.
Well, Tucker, the very first thing that any president does after they've gotten elected, any member of Congress, and every one of us who has served in the military, is we take an oath. And we swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The reason that this is the first thing that we do is because our Constitution is the foundation of this country, right, and who we are. It is what guarantees us our civil liberties, our freedoms that are endowed to us not by any man or person in government, but are endowed to us by our Creator. And so this is something that we must all unite around.
In Democrats' minds and actions, left-wing violence is acceptable. And those who threaten Andy don't find themselves canceled or thrown off of anti-American social media. Even Democrats, some Democrats out there, now starting to take notice of this hypocrisy and the dangers the socialist supremacists pose.
The mob that stormed the Capitol on January 6th to try to stop Congress from carrying out its constitutional responsibilities were behaving like domestic enemies of our country. But let's be clear. The John Brennans, Adam Schiffs, and the oligarchs in big tech who are trying to undermine our constitutionally protected rights and turn our country into a police state with KGB-style surveillance are also domestic enemies and much more powerful and therefore dangerous than the mob that stormed the Capitol.
Yeah, she's got that about right.
Those like John Brennan, Adam Schiff, and others are also acting as domestic terrorists because they are also undermining our Constitution by trying to take away our civil liberties and rights that are guaranteed to us. If you don't mind, I'd like to just quote John Brennan directly so that people can't say I'm taking this out of context. Directly, yes. John Brennan says, members of the Biden team who have been nominated or appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements they've seen overseas, where they germinate in different parts of the country and gain strength and bring together an unholy alliance, frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, and even libertarians. This is the extent that they are going to try to undermine the rights and freedoms that are guaranteed to every one of us.
You know, I count three Democrats in all of the United States who stand up for the traditional American value of free speech. Tulsi Gabbard, who you just saw, Congressman Henry Cuellar, and Eric Johnson. He's the mayor of Dallas. The rest are socialist sellouts.
What can the rest of us do to protect ourselves, to keep free speech alive in a moment when it's being crushed all around us?
First of all, keep speaking. I think this is the most important thing at a time when there is so much fear and threats and the kind of fomenting of fear that we're seeing coming from the likes of John Brennan. take a stand. We must all take a stand and unite around these principles in our Constitution and continue to speak freely, whether it be in person, on the street corner, or on these virtual public squares, these town squares that exist online. But I think most importantly, we need to urge President Biden and every member of Congress how critical it is they take a stand and denounce the likes of John Brennan and Adam Schiff's actions. Because if we do not, and if they do not, then this country that we love and cherish will no longer exist.